Welcome back to another episode of In Good Company. We are your hosts,
Jeremiah Rivers
and Judah McFadden. Thank you to our producer, Courtney, and her husband for bringing us Blue Bottle this morning.
Early morning pods.
When we walked in,
You need energy.
We went, energy.
Energy,
Caffeine. When we walked in,
We were down bad.
And then you get a little Blue Bottle in your blood system. And now I feel great.
Whole Blue Bottle just replaces all.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starbucks is not that great. Unless they sponsor us. And then we'll pivot our
And we're your favorite customers.
Okay, I want to have this conversation with you because I got an argument the other day with a friend of ours, and he's like, yoga is not scientifically proven to help your body. He goes, I wake up and I just am in a lot of pain. I was like, dude, you should do yoga. He goes, yoga's for hippies, man. You've been in LA too long.
That is stubbornness.
Thank you. It is.
That's your friend being stubborn as hell. If you go and do yoga once or twice a week, you will feel noticeably different in a month.
Yeah, good luck doing like a downward dog for a minute and a half when you're winded and your muscles are tight. Speaking of good things like yoga, what is your 5-star of the week?
And my 5-star is an Instagram account I follow. He's an Italian chef. It's Chef Max Mariola. Is the Instagram handle. And
Wait, is this the one where you made the Spanish?
The prawns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got that from this guy?
I got him from his
Guy's great.
And everything he makes is great, but his personality, he'll like at the end he'll do the,
little sear flick.
like the pan flick.
Yeah.
They get all the sauce and the noodles together.
I love when they do that.
And he's like, it's the sound of love.
It's the sound of love.
And I'm like, it is. I'm like, it's just delicious. But he makes me happy. Like I watch my Instagram feed right now is like, it's really weird. It's like horses and Italian food.
They're listening to us. That's what it is.
Probably. I've been talking about horses so much recently. It's horses, it's Italian food, and then fashion. Like that's all I get. And his Instagram account makes me happy. And I think anybody who goes on there, like he's like impossible not to like.
No, his videos are incredible.
Yeah, he's so much fun.
That's a great 5-star. Yeah, the meal you cooked, that was one of his videos, one of the best meals of my life. It was so good.
That was
the Spanish prawns.
I'm surprised it worked out as well as it worked out since that was the first time I've ever made it.
It was incredible. It was so good.
It was damn near $20 a prawn at Italy.
And these vibrant red Spanish prawns.
Oh man.
So good.
What a meal. I gotta redo that.
Yeah, that was great.
So what's your 5-star of the week?
My 5-star is not as gourmet as yours. But they're the Hippie Puff chips. They're like protein chips. There's like 0 sugar and like 5 grams of protein.
Can you get those everywhere or just like your Erewhons of the world?
It's your Whole Foods and Erewhon.
Whole Foods has them too.
Yeah, and it's 0 sugar, 4 grams of protein. It's a great little treat.
I love anything crunchy. You know that. I love like chips. And I'm always craving like crunchy snacks.
Yeah, 5-star. Hippies, chickpea puffs. They're incredible. There'll be a link in the bio in the menu for it.
Have you seen Flaming Hot?
I told you about Flaming Hot. Me and Taylor.
Okay, you told me about it.
It's one of the best movies ever. Well, that's my movie of the week now.
It's such a cool story. I feel like a lot of people do not know about Flaming Hot. Like it kind of went under the radar. They didn't really market it. The only reason I know about it is because of you and your sister Taylor. Eva Longoria directed it. Did such a good job.
Incredible movie.
Really tells like a Mexican American experience. The guy is a janitor at Frito-Lay. Frito-Lay's kind of going through some.
Well, first he's a gangster, right?
He's a gangster, yeah. Dude's a gangster
like
first.
Trying to get a normal job.
Got a record. They kind of like tricked them into hiring him, like because he doesn't have a resume worth hiring.
I remember he's like, "Oh, that principal's still there," and he goes, "Yeah, she's a real pain in the butt."
Right.
He's like, "It was a dude," and he goes, "She was."
It's just like gangster turned Frito-Lay janitor employee during a time when Frito-Lay was having some creative ruts with their products. And he's like, yo, like y'all are not making products for my people, you know?
Yeah, he was like, my people aren't being represented in anything that you market.
Yeah, we like spice. And then boom, him and his wife, like,
thousands of recipes and trying all of them and
hot Cheetos.
Genius. It's such an inspiring. I cried at the end. Me and my sister were watching it together, and I was just crying.
Dude's a millionaire.
It's hard to not be inspired by it.
Nah, dude's a millionaire. I mean, go watch Flamin'
Yeah,
Hot immediately.
I love Flaming Hot so much. That is my movie of the week. It's going to be in the Patreon, in the menu. You can click on it and go watch it. Flaming Hot, so good. Movie of the week. What is the song of the week?
Alta Vista, Childish Gambino, just released his new album. It's one of the songs on the album. A lot of the songs are dope. He's kind of like experimental. I just like Childish Gambino. He's fucking dope.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
So that'll be in the playlist that you can only get if you subscribe to our Patreon. Last week's episode, every playlist you've made has been, you're like, oh, it's great. And then the next one's great. And the next one's great.
You get a little joy, happiness, you know.
We get comments on it. People are like, yo, that playlist is fantastic.
Yeah, it has been like a thing that I think is slowly picked up. I get comments on it like weekly. You know, someone would DM me, message me, text me, whatever. My sister even brought it up the other day. She's like, you got to add this to your playlist. I was like,
great.
Oh, you are paying attention.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know about them or want to listen to them, you only can get them in the menu. Just go to the Patreon and subscribe.
10 songs a week.
Way you go.
It's quite challenging, actually. 10 new songs a week.
It's hard to not recycle.
Hard not to recycle, and I'm always finding new stuff. I'm not going to like put songs on there that everybody's listening to.
Yeah.
I really did want to put the bar song on there, the Tipsy song.
Yeah.
But I'm like, nah, man, everybody knows.
Popular.
It's too popular now. That song goes off.
Me down another shot of whiskey. Okay, say you're...
Me and Jack Daniels got a history.
I didn't know that was a remix of a rap song. Did you know that?
He got all these country folks like, we don't want rappers. Like, he got he got everybody singing a rap song. It is by Jay
Everybody in the club getting tipsy.
1, here comes the 2 to the 3 to the 4. It's a rap song.
Everybody conk down on the dance floor. You should boozy to everyone and thinking you wrote that.
What's crazy is my sister and Seth are big country fans. I sent Seth and my sister a Shabuzi song like 9 months ago. And I was like, yo, this dude's dope. Like, he had
this bar or whatever
500,000 followers on Spotify. Now the dude's got 24 million.
Yeah, popping. Well, like him redoing the rap song into that is kind of like Miley Cyrus doing. It's like basically Bruno Mars. Like, I can buy myself flowers. It's like spot on Bruno Mars.
What do you mean?
I can buy you flowers, and she goes, I can buy myself flowers. She goes, and go dancing it, and she goes, and then she's like talking. It's basically steals line for line from the Bruno Mars song.
My mind is blown right now.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I can buy you flowers.
She basically repurposed it.
I can do it all for myself.
I can do it all for me.
Yeah.
And she changed the melodies. I have a very keen ear. I'm shocked I did not notice that.
Do you want me to play them for you right now so you can hear it?
Yeah.
I should have bought you flowers and held your hand. Should have gave you all my hours when I had the chance. Take you to every party because all you wanted to do was dance. Now my baby's dancing, but she's dancing with another man. And then hers is, I can buy myself flowers, write my name in the sand, talk to myself for hours, saying things you don't understand. I can take myself dancing. I can hold my own hand. I can love me better than you can.
This is like word for word.
But it's not at the same time, but it's genius.
It is.
It's genius.
Clever.
Miley, I love you. I want to meet you. Take you dancing. Let me buy you flowers.
I'll hold your hand.
I'll hold your hand. I'll write your name in the sand.
I love Miley.
So good.
Miley, I have like a crush on Miley.
Love Miley.
Yeah.
Do you know the story of that I can buy myself flowers thing? Do you know the story with that? So Miley shoots the music video at the house that she got cheated on at. She wears the dress that Jennifer Lawrence wore to the movie premiere. Then she wears the tux that he wore to the movie premiere. And then you know what she does on top of all of that? She releases it on his birthday. She released the song on his birthday. Talk about ruining someone's life.
Yeah, bad.
The house, the dress, the suit, and then releasing on his birthday. You are a bad bitch, Miley. Holy cow.
Whoa, I didn't know all that.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence?
Jennifer J. Law. Which, your last movie.
When they were filming Hunger Games. Got a little
hungry. You didn't know that.
I did not know
Dude,
that.
but that's like another level of like the levels of I'm gonna get back at him.
Pettiness?
Oh my god.
I mean, it's like petty as hell.
Yeah, but also clever.
It's clever. I did not know any of this. This is all just coming to life for me. So I'm sure all the TikTok people, everybody knows about it. I did not know about this.
Pretty crazy.
Jennifer Lawrence, really? Miley.
Great White Buffalo.
The one that got away.
The one that got away. Our guest today is a author. He's a leader, a mentor, and someone I really look up to. He's helped shape my life and been a big monumental person for me.
He's a great dad, great husband. He's a man of faith, family, and friends. He's been probably one of the most important figures in my life the last 15 months. And he's our pastor.
Chad has a book coming out this October 15th. You can pre-order it now. I bet you think this book is about you. Again, if you want to follow him too, his @handle is Chad Veach. Pastor Chad, welcome to In Good Company.
There seems to be confusion. Are you from here? Or are you from Seattle? Are you from
Seattle.
Oregon?
I'm from Seattle.
You're from Seattle.
From Seattle. I first moved here in 1998.
Okay.
Go to Bible college. I lived here 6 years. Went back to Seattle for 10, and then back to LA.
So
So,
that-
I've only ever done
Where your love from coffee came from?
exactly
Seattle.
Exactly, Seattle.
Wait, so were you a Supersonics guy?
What?
Yeah. Gary Payton, the
The
glove.
glove, Gary Payton, deadlift shrimp.
Deadlift
Did it
shrimp.
hurt you when they
Man.
left?
Rain Man.
Hershey Hawkins who?
Did it hurt you when they left?
Bro, what? Yes. Well, I lived here when they three-peated with Shaq and Kobe. So I kind of like the Lakers,
Yeah.
but I love the Sonics. Grew up Sonics fan. So when they left, when Howard Schultz, who did us so dirty, the owner of Starbucks, sold to that man from Oklahoma, and they got rid of him, I was like, I'm out. So that's when I became a real Laker fan, was when they left.
That was like kind of betrayal.
And Uncle
mean,
Jeff Green was
Uncle
on
Jeff,
the Sonics.
on the Sonics.
We drafted Russ.
KD.
KD was cooking.
Man.
We were ready to go.
I mean, you guys would have had all those memories that OKC had.
Yeah, genuinely.
That would have been like the Sonics
And
legacy.
Seattle is a crazy diehard sports town. Like, they love sports.
Yeah, the Seattle Seahawks arena or
Well, the
stadium is
problem for us
crazy.
was the city taxed everybody to pay for the football field and then for the baseball. And then when they went to go do the basketball, everybody's like, no, we're not down. And so that's why they had to go. Was our arena was just dilapidated, wasn't
They should
up
bring
to
a team
standard.
back there. They're talking about expanding.
talk about it all the time.
They
It's
It's
totally
gonna happen.
should.
Yeah.
I think Vegas and then Seattle.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
They're getting teams.
And then you push Memphis to the east.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how they're.
Well,
what
we
West team
almost had
anyway.
the Kings, and then Kevin Johnson, point guard Kevin Johnson, is the mayor there. He got them to build a new arena for them. Otherwise, they were going to Seattle. But if they didn't get that arena, we would have
I
had
mean,
the Kings.
Seattle, Sacramento.
I mean, 90s Seattle, like the jerseys, the nostalgia, Peyton, Raymond, Shrimp, like
Oh,
George Karl. Like,
George Karl.
It was just a dope era to be at like a
We were
Seattle
winning
Supersonics
65
fan.
games every year. Minimum.
Y'all were awesome.
Minimum.
And GP, the glove, was like the biggest trash talker. Like,
he's the greatest
always
ever.
talking.
It's one of my favorite moments of The Last Dance when Gary Payton's talking trash
Oh, yeah.
and George's watching and he's laughing. He's like, I was locking him up. And George just laughing.
so it's like,
at it.
man, you ain't never locked me up a day in your life.
But when we were in the finals, that was like peak Sonic basketball.
Yeah,
They need to bring him back.
they will.
I hope they go same colors too. The dark green unis, like Clipstein wears those old school Sonic shorts all
Oh,
the
they're
time.
the best.
Best
best.
uniforms ever.
I mean, we're all like huge coffee enthusiasts. I wear my like coffee snob flag proudly. Like, I really do. I wave it. Like, I do not care.
Yeah.
You know,
Snob is correct word on that.
what do you have a go to in LA?
In LA, I think it's Maru. What's the place that you tell me about? Tectonic?
Tectonic is good.
I really
yeah.
want to go try that. I still have it in Common Goods. It's
not as
I
good as
really need to
Tectonic.
do, I really need to do that. But I would say Blue Bottle and Maru are my top two right now.
Yeah, Blue Bottle's nice because they're all over too.
Yeah, but I feel like LA always has something appearing. Like I remember Verve when it first started going. Like I would go to Verve. I remember there was an Intelligentsia wave like 10 years ago where it's like Intelligentsia is cool. Yeah, I remember going to Chicago and first having Intelligentsia. I was like, this is the best coffee I've ever had. So it's like you never know what's going to appear for coffee.
You like La Cologne?
Sure,
It's okay.
It's all right.
It's
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, sure. I feel that.
I was in Boston last week and I had to go get it, and I was like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not like, is there a La Colombe here?
It's better than coffee bean. It's like better than
My kids making coffee is better than coffee bean. My children, my 8-year-old Maverick
Oh, facts,
making me a
man.
cup of coffee is better than coffee bean. You know what? Dirt is better than coffee bean.
Also, your son when he came on stage the other day,
Bro.
I was laughing so hard. He's like, "What do you got to say for all his moms out there?" And he's like, "Good luck." And I was like,
This kid
"That
doesn't
was
miss.
so
I
funny."
mean, it's like it's true. Like kids say the darndest things.
it was
Yeah,
so
you know.
funny. He's
But
like, and then
like-
you got one kid peeing on the wall, and you're like, "All right."
I was like, hey, man, all right, thanks, buddy.
It was so funny.
Maverick's preaching next week. And he goes, really? I'm like, no, I'm not being serious.
You're like, slow down, slow down.
That was so
But like,
good.
you can't teach funny. I always believe that. Like, you can't teach somebody to be funny. He's funny. Naturally funny.
Natural.
Yeah. Just like athleticism. Like some people are just natural athlete. This kid is naturally funny.
Did he have like before he went up? Did you guys give him like a couple things he should say, or you just let him go?
I didn't even warn him. I just was like, to close the service, I just grabbed his hand, like, come walk in the back. He probably thinks he's in trouble. And I go, this is what I told him. I go, give him a mic when I ask for him. Send him up here. Whatever you do, the youngest is going to want to get on stage. Don't let the youngest up. Because I know the youngest was like, if he's up on
ready to
stage,
go.
I'm trying to get on stage.
And the youngest is a born entertainer.
Oh, gosh.
Like he's gonna be on Broadway one day. Like he's gonna be an actor. Like the kid's got the sauce. Like
He has so much confidence.
He does.
It's crazy. We always say, nobody loves Clive more than Clive.
I love that.
You gotta have that confidence, though.
Hey man.
I'm trying to give some of that confidence to the oldest.
I mean, he's a baseball player.
Yeah, So I shouldn't say all of them are baseball players. The oldest loves sports, die hard. When he gets in trouble, we take away sports. Youngest loves anything where there's an audience. The middle one that got up, Maverick, he loves books. It's so funny. Last night we were at dinner. I said, son, there's two types of smarts in life. There's book smart and there's street smart. I said, which one do you think you are? He goes, book smart. I go, yeah, but I think you're street smart too. Like you get people. And then Julia goes, there's a third smart. I was like, oh, where's this going? She goes, there's a third smart. She goes, there's creative smart. He goes, yeah, that's what I am too. Like that's cool that he
it.
gets
Yeah.
That's
see himself
cool.
as a creative.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
real
remember we
cool.
were standing outside church one day and he was reading and you were standing next to me and he like was just so into his book that he came and he like held onto my leg and I was like, what's up, man? And then he like looked up from his book and he was like,
What's up? He's like, what kind of? That's not my dad's mustache.
yeah.
What kind of mustache is that?
I thought you were short.
Yeah, I always say about him, like he's like a cat. Like people are like, oh, Maverick loves me. He's cuddling with me. I'm like, oh no, he does not love you. He just loves to cuddle. He grab any
Nothing
random
to do
leg.
with you.
It's interesting how like your children all have different personalities. They're
Man.
all so much different from each other. Like, even like in my family, your family, like the kids, like were raised mostly in the same household, same parents, everything. But like the kids are different. Everyone has their own little unique thing about them.
Light years.
Oh yeah.
Like all 6 kids in my family are all so different.
I forget that you're from 6.
Yeah, I have 4 older sisters.
So you're 5.
I'm the 5th child. I'm the first boy.
And where's the youngest?
He's 2 years younger than me.
Who acts the most spoiled then? The youngest is truly the youngest?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like
None
acts
of-
like the youngest, is what I'm saying.
He's the smartest.
Wow.
He's like a certified genius.
Oh really?
Yeah. But like he's so intellectual and so smart, it like doesn't even register on my level.
Like on the spectrum genius type?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I he's like on the spectrum, but he's like so
He's not Alan from Hangover.
Yeah, no. And he's also,
cards
he's
at
also
the table.
he's also not Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man.
Okay.
Like,
Alan and Hangover. That's Zach.
Galifianakis.
Yeah. So I take this story when we were at dinner the other night with Jerry, and he was sitting next to us. It's like you know, in LA, you never know who you're gonna see. You never know how you're gonna react. I always think like, you think you're okay until like you see somebody that kind of gets you. And seeing him, I was like, man, that's someone I really want to walk up to and be like, hey, man,
That's someone who hypes you up
I
because
think
you're
he's
like,
so funny.
Yeah.
Like I gotta just like eat my meal, pretend like I don't see him, but I'm like, dude, I think you're really his in between the trees thing.
Oh,
When he
between two
roasts
ferns.
people between two ferns,
So
dude,
good.
His delivery on that, he's just so deadpan.
Yeah, it's
And
hilarious.
he says the most savage things to people.
I have a cheat code for that situation.
Okay, tell me.
Just have dinner with my dad. I promise you. Because either he's gonna go up to them or they're gonna
They're
come
gonna
to
come
him.
up to him. Yeah.
I've been in so many situations where I'm like, I'm so happy about my dad sitting next to me.
Yeah.
Because like there'll be somebody there.
They're gonna
And it's an automatic. It's
Yep.
automatic every time. I'm
Yes.
just like crossing my fingers. I'm like,
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Come say hi to him.
yeah. Like we had who played Lawrence Fishburne in Matrix. What's his name?
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence
Lawrence
Fishburne,
Fishburne.
yeah.
Yeah. Like I love the Matrix.
Yeah, of
I grew
course.
up on the Matrix.
Yeah.
And he just played my pops in that like You Got Clipped or like the new Clippers series. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he's like playing my pops like during the whole Donald Sterling situation.
Oh, they're doing a show on it.
They did a show on it. Yeah.
Wow, who picked that up? Is that HBO?
Oh, Hulu did it.
Who? Well, that's gonna be so good.
And then like Lawrence Fishburne came to the table and did like the Spider-Man meme, and my dad like, like I just played you. Like it was mad funny, man.
Spider-Man meme is so good.
But it was cool. I was like, he was like someone as a kid I always like
Yeah.
loved,
It's
seeing.
rare. Like okay, so but sports is different than like actors. Like I've seen your dad out years before I met you. I would say hi to Doc. What's up, dog? How you do? You know, like it's athletes. They're different to me than like even musicians and actors.
No doubt.
You know,
No doubt.
Like because athletes, there's a certain way they carry themselves where it's like I don't need anything from you. I just need to acknowledge you. Like you're amazing.
Just like
I never.
it's like a head nod.
Yeah, it's a head nod.
It's like a head nod.
I know who you'd freeze if you saw Rufio.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rufio.
Oh, yeah.
You would freeze.
Oh yeah, I'd probably start rattling off lines from the dinner to him.
That is an all-timer.
Yeah, wait, can you give us a few of those? Those are so good.
Did he ever do anything else? Like, what else is that kid in? That was probably peak.
You know how like as a child star you do that one movie and then just like you can't outgrow how people see you.
It's iconic.
Like Daniel Radcliffe, will he ever not be Harry Potter? Like I don't know.
That's-
Some people can grow out of it. Some people do it.
And I think sometimes you need that space. You need that 10-year gap, 15-year gap to reinvent. And then it's like, oh, like you were famous off this, but then like now we see you as this.
Yeah, I think you almost have to grow up a little. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
if you're a kid, you're gonna be stuck in that. But as a young man, maybe you could play a couple different roles.
Can Macaulay Culkin do anything without
my
me
gosh.
thinking about Home Alone?
I think now if he did something iconic, we
Yeah,
would see him
that's
something
fair.
different. Like if he did something now, today, that was like a big,
It had to be way different than how we know him,
yeah.
right? Like his brother was on Succession.
Raymond, so good.
He's so good on Succession. It's crazy.
And you can see Macaulay Culkin in him a little bit.
1,000%. 1,000%. He's so good in that show.
I miss that show.
That show is all time.
With Succession, it's all about hierarchy and who's going to be
Favorite.
this Titan's
Yes.
successor.
Yeah.
Are you like molding?
No,
a
I'm
kid?
gonna,
Is there-
do what he did. I'm gonna make them all fight for it. I'm gonna play mind games with my kids and carry it and make them think that's you, and then flip on it as you, and flip on him, and then have them all war against me. It's a whole thing I've got planned out.
knowing damn
It's also
well
gonna be a
you're
reality
never going
show.
to give the keys.
Yeah, I'm never giving it up.
never
I'm
gonna
giving
know.
it to what's her name? The secretary or
Yeah,
Frank.
well,
Jerry.
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 Iconic.
Going to Jerry.
By the way, whoever casted that show,
Yeah,
the character development, forget wardrobe. Wardrobe is all time.
all time.
But I can't think of another show that had better character development where it's like every character's so unique and so plays their role perfect. Whoever did that, like, wow.
My favorite's Cousin Greg.
Cousin Greg.
Sleeper character, and then just
do
you love him.
doesn't Tom have an accent? I think he's from,
No,
He's
he's
like
like,
McFadden. He's Irish. Talk like this.
yeah.
oh no way.
It's-
And you would never
Same
hear
last
that
name.
on the show. I think those guys are stand-up comedians, by the way.
They're great. All of them are so
Oh my
fantastic.
Do you have a mean Irish accent?
That was really good.
It's not bad though. For this episode, talk like that. Mr. Chad Veach, one of our pastors, Zoe.
Oh my! What else do you got?
we could be here all day.
Are we done a couple
We could
times?
be here
but
all
Have
day.
you heard it's Christopher Walken?
No, let me hear it.
No, Chad. He's a good guy, good pastor, leader. Follow. You see it today to talk about transition. We could do this. He's got a new book. I bet you think this book is about you, don't you? Don't you? He's here
Bro,
today.
that's so good.
I don't know. Good for you, good for you.
I don't want it to end.
He's a writer.
What's
good
the
man.
guy's name?
Writer,
What's
good
the
man.
guy's name? What's the tall guy's name on E?
Been seeing this guy.
And everybody
yeah.
walks
You
up
seen
and
him?
they're like, like, do you have one for me? And like, he does like, he
Oh,
doesn't
I
have
know
like
who you're
one or
talking about.
two. He does like,
He does the Goldblum one.
he does like
right? He
20
does
to
it-
25 people.
Yeah,
I feel like.
he's great. He's really good.
That's like if I could be Jeff Goldblum in like 30
Oh,
years, I'm happy, man.
Bro,
You have similar style to Jeff.
Like
Goldblum.
me, and him, I love his swag,
Bro.
his use of hands. Like he's always just like,
no, but to answer your question, no, I have not chosen. The thing about for my line of work, different than your guys's. My line of work is like you don't choose it; it chooses you. Like it really is calling. So it's like to me, it's not even up to me. It's like so sovereign. It's so much bigger than what I would even see today. So we'll see. We'll see what they got.
find your way to it.
Yeah, you find your way, and it's a thing that I think you get arrested to do. It's like if you could go do something else, I would tell my kids to go do that. But what we do is like, I can't do anything else. Like this is what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
And so like, if I was doing something else, I would wake up in the morning or go to bed at night and feel like really crunchy and feel like, man, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. So we'll see.
Like a
you
true
know?
calling.
It's a true calling. That's what I think. Yeah. It's like,
Also, like you look up to your father, you want to follow
Yeah.
in your father's footsteps, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Like in my family, basketball was our lives since
Yeah.
we were born, and so naturally, like my dad never pushed it on us. I was playing tennis, baseball, football, like across the board, and then over time, like we just all fell into what we fell into. You know, basketball was what I wanted to do, what Austin wanted to do. Callie became a superstar volleyball player.
right.
Spencer played basketball. You know what I mean? We all went to college. We all played ball. But my dad never was like, this is what y'all need to be doing.
Yeah.
You know?
And same, like my parents never once put that on me or asked me or have you considered ever. It was never even brought up.
Really? Okay.
Never, not one time. And that's why I was drawn to it, is that was my own decision, like you for basketball, which, by the way, we didn't acknowledge. I forget what that thing is the other day that you were doing. Show me your best photo in college. Your
Oh, yeah.
Georgetown photos
Oh, yeah.
were crazy, bro.
Stuff and Steph Curry.
That was crazy.
That was great.
Those are all framers.
I apologize to Steph. So when Seth and my sister got married, you know, Steph was there. And I
Yeah.
hadn't seen him really since.
Since you put the ball back into his forehead. Keep going.
I mean, you know what?
We have footage, but keep going.
We do have footage.
Yeah, we have a photo, but keep going.
The first half, I was pinching him. I was playing so dirty because I was grabbing his jersey. He was getting frustrated. He had like 3 points. We were up 19 at halftime.
Wow.
These dudes came back. He scored 32 in the second half.
In the second half. Who's guarding him?
Bro, it was the end of my career.
I thought you were going to say the coach switched up and had somebody else guard him. No, he put 32 on my head. Keep going.
Dude,
But that was his run. That was his March Madness run,
it's
right?
hard to like love him because I'm like, bro, you're the reason I'm not getting picked up by any of these teams, bro. Like, I'm supposed to be the defender. Like, in college, everybody knew me as a defender.
Wow.
I just went on vacation with this dude. I'm like trying to not hate him, but I'm just like, man, you're such a good dude. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
but
didn't tell you. I saw
also-
a video of him, his highlights in college. You were in a lot of
No, bro, he put me in like,
I didn't tell you.
he just did like a docuseries
Yeah.
and he's like flaming me in it. I'm just
Yeah.
like, bro, I thought we're like blood now. We're family. like, well, come on, man. Like, why are you
What's
roasting me?
crazy about the end of that run for him is that he doesn't take the last shot to go to the Final Four.
No.
He passes it to his teammate. And I'm like,
To the point guard, right?
yeah. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. He was probably, when I think about my running at Georgetown, because we were so good.
Man, your team was crazy.
First year I was there, went Final Four. You know, I was 6 man. I told you, like, we were the most unhappy team in the nation. Like, none of us got along.
Wow.
We were the most out of shape team in the country. My coach, John Thompson Jr.,
Yeah.
his wife, she was sick. So he was never around.
Wow.
So all the assistant coaches were running practice and they were all in there like power tripping. And everyone was McDonald's All-Americans.
The talent was crazy.
And so we all thought it should be about us. Like, we're all like,
Yeah,
run the
yeah,
offense through
yeah.
us. But we were in Princeton offense.
Ah.
And I don't know if you don't know about Princeton offense, it is like pass, backdoor,
Backdoor,
dribble,
backdoor,
backdoor.
backdoor.
It's not about like ISO ball.
Nope.
It's not about fast break.
High IQ.
Yeah, high IQ. And you had all these guys who wanted to run
Yep.
and gun. And like, it worked, but we were miserable. But we got to the Final Four.
It's so funny because on the outside, most people be like, "Oh, they got it made. They're at Georgetown, one of the craziest
Yeah.
basketball schools ever." Meanwhile, you said it was like one of the worst years of your life.
Oh, I hated it.
That's crazy.
And I'm from the South, man.
So you went from there to Indiana.
Yeah, I went there too.
Yeah,
Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops.
Where you loved it, right? You said you had fun.
I quickly realized how good I had it on the basketball court at Georgetown.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Because we were god awful at Indiana. Like, all we did was lose. Like, they just got hit with all these sanctions. We didn't have, everyone was doing their best, but we just weren't good.
It's just such a heralded program that was iconic for so long. So you want it to do well. You want it to succeed. But yeah, Georgetown was the jerseys alone.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
Well, you're saying you're calling, and it's something that you couldn't see yourself doing anything else. It's unfortunate, or it's a hard thing that in the career and the thing that you're doing, anything else in life, if you have personal life problems, it doesn't affect your work life. But in what you do, all of it's kind of connected. So how do you deal with the pressure on that? Like, if something happens outside of work, it affects your work.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with the pressure and
there's a scripture I always love. It says, you shouldn't want to be a teacher because they're held to a higher standard. So I think, John Maxwell has a great quote about that. He says, the more responsibility you have, the less rights you have. So if you have the responsibility of doing something, being a teacher, being a police officer, being, any type of service, you don't have the right to post whatever you want to post, say whatever you want to say, do whatever you want to do. You have a responsibility. So I think it's good in the sense that it forces you to live at a higher standard, to really hold yourself accountable of going like I heard someone say one time, if you can't put it on the 6 o'clock news, you shouldn't be doing it. There's some truth in that, of going like, hey, I need to think about my decisions in my life don't just affect me and my family. They have a ripple effect of affecting a lot of people's life and a lot of people's faith. So I should consider how I behave, how I spend my money, how my morals, my standards. So I think it's a really, it could be a burden to some people. I think it's it's a privilege to have that responsibility. I don't see it as like a heavy thing on my life.
Did you at any point when you were younger?
No, I feel like once I signed up, like, all right, I'm in, I was in. And I didn't consider like, oh, it means I can't. And I was like, no, it's like, to me, the way that I see it is there's nothing better in the whole world than being used by God, to me. The privilege or the honor of God using your life is the greatest honor in the world. So I wouldn't want to jeopardize that because I know the effectiveness of it. So it's like, I'm happy to continue to die to myself to the best of my ability. There's been times I did that well, times I did not do that well.
As you move through the ranks in any profession, right?
Yeah.
Like as you gain more power, more, I don't know,
Yeah.
of a following,
Yeah.
it's easy to let your ego come into play, right? We've seen it across every industry, including in ministry too. We've seen how,
Tons, yeah.
You lose that sense that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think trying to keep yourself, I think confidence and ego are different.
Totally.
And I think you can get those things like mixed up.
Yeah.
I think it's good to walk with confidence in anything you do, especially like
Yeah.
I come from sports. We all
Yeah.
have to have that confidence, right? When you're
Yeah.
on stage, you have to like give your sermon with confidence.
Yep.
But ego comes in the way; it can
Yeah.
just destroy you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I love, in this new book, one of my favorite quotes is, humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking less about yourself. So it's like, I'm not losing my confidence because I'm very confident in who I am and what I've been called to do, but I'm not making it about me. So I think part of that has to do with motives, intentions. Like why do you do what you do? What is the motive of this? You're posting this for what value? So people can see how cool you are? Or is there a greater agenda here, a greater message here? Is this for the common good of others? Or do you just trying to build your own name, platform? All of that is a constant wrestle. It's not like, when I was 19, I dealt with it, I'm good. When I was 26, this is an everyday, let's be humble.
Yeah.
Don't check your ego, because we all have ego. We all have pride. So what disciplines do you have, or what practices do you have in place to check all that and keep it like in check?
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like sometimes Julia would be like, oh, that's so funny. You wrote a book about pride. And, she'd kind of get after me about, X, Y, or Z. And I'm like, this is proof positive that the book, I need to read it. I need to apply it. So I'm not writing this book going like, man, I am so humble, you guys. Watch what I do. It's a message for me. It's a message for everybody, because it's constant.
I think the exercise of you writing it down in a book is actually, in a way, you working on it yourself.
That's it.
Right? It's like your journey through that book
Yeah.
is like also for you.
Because I know what arrogance looks like, because I've been arrogant.
Yeah.
I know what ego looks like, because I've walked in ego. And we have to be careful of it, because one of my favorite scriptures is, before destruction comes, pride comes. So I have to catch it early. Otherwise, I'll destroy my marriage. I'll destroy my ministry, destroy my kids. So I got to catch it early, go out, call it what it is. That's your pride. You're not doing the dishes tonight because you're being prideful, or you're not, whatever, fill in the blank. We all have that. We're born into sin. Pride is sin.
Yeah.
And so I got to find a way to like, okay, no, let's get it in check.
And you have such an awareness of it.
I think it's self-awareness. It really is.
Right?
It's self-awareness, which,
Yeah.
like I saw this is really good from, Tom Brady got roasted, right? And he's coming out now. He's saying like he really regrets it.
Really?
Because of his kids. He was on a podcast. He's talking to this podcast. He goes, first year I was out of the NFL, I did this. Second year I'm doing this. He goes, what I'm learning is how to check in with myself. I'm learning how to ask myself how I'm doing. And I think, man, that's really good to like you said, self-awareness. How am I? When I'm dissatisfied, I get really into ego and I start to strive and push for stuff. When I'm comfortable and I'm at peace and I love who I am and I love what God's doing in my life and I'm satisfied with my community, I'm not acting out of ego. So I think if people can look back in their life and they go like, man, I made that decision for money. Anytime you make decisions for money, you're going to regret it. That's ego. So you just learn yourself and you learn your own vices and your own weaknesses and your own problems. And one of my favorite sayings is that we've all been raised by trauma, drama, daddy, and mama. It's my favorite because those four things are driving our behavior. I've got to figure out what I've gone through so I can stay humble and not let ego kill me.
Hard to do.
Man.
You really got to do some work to understand. I like that. Trauma, drama, daddy, and mama. That's so true.
It's facts. It's facts. I feel like grace and forgiveness is lent to almost everybody but pastors. Like you make one mistake and it's like,
you're not allowed that slip up.
Judge, jury, executioner on y'all.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think that goes back to what you're saying. Like that sacrifice you're making is you have to go into being, I'm assuming, being a pastor, knowing, hey, like I have these responsibilities.
That's right.
You know, and with that comes things I have to sacrifice or, you know, removing that element, trying to keep yourself on the straight and narrow, you know?
And I think, you know, like people are going to hate you no matter what. You know, Jesus talks about this. It's the craziest thing. The light of the world has come into the world, but men, because of their evil deeds, have chosen darkness. So some people are just going to choose dark and hate light. And Jesus goes, hey, guys, they hate me. They're going to hate you. So that's part of the program. You sign up to be hated to a degree.
Yeah.
Let's not also have self-inflicted gunshot wounds where it's like they hate you already and now you gave them a bunch of ammo.
Yeah, making it worse.
Why are you making it worse? So I already know, like, I signed up for a life that there's a group that's going to hate me because I represent light. And there's a whole part of that that's just part of it. But I have to the best of my ability, live to where it's like I'm not giving people a bunch of ammunition of like, you make it look bad. You make it look like, why are you compromising? Why are you doing, you know, does that make sense? Yeah. Like, so you got to keep it all in context.
Yeah, I feel like it's tricky because like the amount of grace I get, you're not afforded that same amount of grace.
Yeah.
Even though that's what you're, you know, preaching and putting out in the world. You're not allowed that, which it has to be, I mean, I guess not difficult if you just, you know, you're living a very holy life, right?
Yeah.
Maybe for me, I need to, you know, I'm constantly trying. I'm trying, you know what I mean?
Trying.
But that's also the thing I deal with is like giving myself grace. Like how many times can I make the same mistake and, you know, to be like, oh, I'll be better.
Like with moral failures and
things whatever it is. Like I can't
that,
give myself grace. I know I have grace. Like all the things I've done, I've been forgiven for. But like I don't want to keep doing it and have an excuse for. I can't give myself grace. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I do think with that, like you're never going to overcome until you fully receive God's love and God's acceptance, God's forgiveness, and through that, I think that you receive His strength to overcome. Shame is the biggest bully in the world. Shame tells you you're awful, you'll never break it, you're going to keep doing it. Shame keeps you at a level. The more I allow Jesus to love me and the more I allow God's grace to overwhelm me, then I have the power and the strength to overcome my past. But if I just listen to that, man, you're doing this again, you went back, that thing will keep me right there. But the power of grace is to receive it so that I can overcome.
I like...
Yeah, man, I got a whole bunch more. Let me continue.
Okay, so what is his new book? Just is coming out in the fall, right?
Yeah, October,
and it's called "I Bet You Think This Book Is About You."
Yep.
What's the ethos of this book, and what brought it to? What made you want to write it?
Yeah, I was dealing with my own. I kind of stumbled upon this idea of like, hey, if you really want to do well, it's the key to success, in my opinion, is humility. Like you get favor with God, but you get favor with others. Nobody's mad at the humble person. Nobody's mad at AR-15. Austin Reeves, you know, white Mamba. Nobody's mad at Country Kobe.
Country Kobe is crazy.
Nobody's mad at him.
Well, I didn't know he had an accent, by the way. Not to segue, but
It's from
It's
Oklahoma,
a
right?
great accent.
He's like
He's
country.
Arkansas. What?
I didn't know
Arkansas,
that.
He's Arkansas or Oklahoma. Sorry, didn't he play at Oklahoma? I think he's Oklahoma.
He's
Little Rob.
Anyways, but it's like we get mad. We don't. There's something that rises up in us against people that walk in pride. There's a saying I put in the book. Pride is the only disease that makes everyone else sick besides the person that has it. So we can look at pride and be like, that's so gross. Like we hate that. We're repulsed by it. But so is God. God hates pride. So I started just thinking like, man, I want favor with God. I want favor with man. I've got to figure out humility in my life. Like I really want to be humble. And so I started just studying it and just writing about it and just trying to apply it to my life.
And that's what the book's about.
That's what the book's about.
October coming your way. I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, I feel like when you're working on those things, or when you like start to have that awareness of wanting to be more humble,
Yeah.
you know, wanting to, I guess, not lead by pride.
Yep.
You know, all these other things like discernment start becoming like a part of you, right?
That's right.
You start realizing all these different things
Yep.
just due to that work. You know?
And I think you hit the word on the head, realization. We have to realize, and we have to catch ourselves earlier. Okay, I can recognize I have been acting this way, and it's all pride. It's all ego. Like I got to call it what it is. Like I have been driven down this path. And if I'm being honest, I think the problem with honesty is we are rarely honest with ourselves. So how can we be honest with others?
Yeah.
It's like I always think this about deception, like, catfish. Is that what they call when somebody gets catfished? Like, somebody fakes them out and they use a different profile and all that. So that's deception, right? The only thing that's worse than being deceived by somebody else is being deceived by yourself. Oh, I'm good. That's not for me. No, you're actually not good.
Yeah, you're lying to yourself.
You're lying to yourself. Like, you need to be honest about where you're at. Are you happy? Are you content? Are you satisfied? Are you fulfilled? Do you love the way God made you? Do you love what's happening in your life? If not, I think that we go down these paths that are very destructive by nature. Humility to me is going like, God, you are so good to me. You are so kind to me. You provided everything I have, my intellect, my talent, my gifting, my relationships. Thank you, God. Now out of humility and gratitude, I can live my life. So it's just approaching life from a totally different premise than I think the rest of the world.
Do you think the lack of self-awareness causes or pushes, some pastors to slip up?
Yeah, all of us, right?
Yeah.
You stop being aware of like who you are. The fastest way to lose influence is to forget who you are. The more you're aware of your influence and how powerful you are, the more you keep it in check. The more you wake up and you go like, hey, there's a lot on the line today, and I shouldn't be negligent with it. I shouldn't be casual or flippant with it. So it is awareness. It's God, there's a lot of things going on in my life. There's a lot of people that depend upon me. I got mouths to feed. I got a family to raise. I got to take all this very seriously to a degree. I like this. Like, I don't want to take myself too seriously, but I want to take God and what he's called me to do seriously.
I think one of the most important things I've learned from you, and which I also feel like can, maybe be an antidote to that, is serving others versus serving yourself.
That's it.
If you just serve others, like you won't have to worry about any of that.
It's to me, it's like the person that walks in the room and goes, "Here I am," versus the person that walks in the room and goes, "There you are." Like, which person do you want to be? Do you want to walk in the room and be like, "I'm here, you see?" And it's like, oh, that's ego. Humility walks in the room and goes, "How you doing? It's good to see you, man." And that's adding value. Who doesn't want a friend that adds value? Who doesn't want a friend that's like looking after your best interests? To me, that's love. And loving people will always do well for you.
Well, the friendship thing is big for me because just talking about making mistakes, the room you're in and the people you surround yourself with is pretty monumental to the decisions you make.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge thing for me. I feel like when when we started hanging out, the room I was in changed and the people I was around changed. So therefore my behavior changed and the way I talk changed. And sometimes it's hard to realize like some rooms aren't meant for you and those friends aren't for you. And you got to try and find something different that aligns with where you want to go.
Yeah, you learn the hard way.
Yeah.
You learn, you go like, oh, this wasn't actually the best room, or these weren't actually the best influences on me. I could recognize that awareness. I recognize when I'm with them, I talk like this and I act like this, and that's actually not who I want to be.
Yeah.
I actually want to be like these people.
And it's like, or it's something that you outgrow.
There you go.
You know, I think everyone's like, oh, you've changed. Yeah, I know. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Duh. Like, what do you
Please,
mean?
I hope, God, that I've
Yeah,
changed.
exactly. And one of my favorite quotes is, I kind of changed it where you say sin, but I kind of changed that word out and say choices can cost you more than you want to pay. And it's like the most realest shit ever. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
My bad, big man.
Jeremiah, can I talk to you?
Man, dude. But yeah, it's like, it's such a real thing. I think that applies to anybody.
Man.
No matter what position you in, you know, pastor, coach, player, your choices can cost you more than you want to pay.
Man.
Yeah.
For anybody who may be outside of the church,
Yeah.
right, who might not be picking up your book first thing,
Right.
you know, is there any advice you'd have for them in, you know, trying to navigate all the pleasures of life, right?
Yeah.
All the
Temptation.
these
Man.
things that are so convenient,
Yep.
in your face, thrown at you all the time, and is also cultural. I think I've always tried to explain to people, you know, there's a lot of behavior that is cultural.
Yep.
And you don't even understand. It might be so wrong to somebody,
Yep.
and they might see it as that. You don't even know.
That's right.
You know, because it's like what you're a part of. Your
Yeah.
friends doing it, your peers are doing it, everybody around you. You know, for that player who's in their room,
Yeah.
you know, at 10 o'clock, and
Yeah.
you know, you got Instagram shawties DMing you left
Yeah.
and right. You know, is there any advice you would have just on, you know, trying to cultivate a more, I guess, godly spirit?
Yeah, I think the first thing that comes to mind, well, you know, first of all, I think it's very important that we don't judge people that we've never been in their position. So there's a lot of people that go, how could they do that? You're not Tiger Woods. You don't know what Tiger Woods faced. Yeah. So it's like I have a compassion for people that I can't relate with, of pressures or temptations that a lot of normal people don't deal with. But I think the first thing I'll just say is like, check your circle. I just love that idea of like, I am the sum total of my influences. So who's in your circle? Show me your friends. I'll show you your future. You are who you hang with. So if you're around a bunch of people that are compromising and making dumb decisions and spending money they don't have and fill in the blank, blah, 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 going down that path, you are going to go down that path. If you're around a bunch of people that are disciplined, entrepreneurs, trying to be successful, trying to do what's right, living by values, I'm going to become like that. So I would the first thing I'd say is check your circle, who you hang with. Yeah. And if you don't like who you're hanging with, go find another group. Go find some new relationships. Go find some friends that inspire you or challenge you. Instead of having a bunch of yes people around you, get a couple no's.
I was going to say people that hold you to a higher standard.
There you go. It's good for you to have some friends like, no, we don't talk like that.
That's what you do for me.
Yeah.
Like if I'm acting out, he's like,
hey, we don't.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not gonna.
Yeah.
Don't overdrink like that when we're in public like that. You not. Hey, cussing like that. This just doesn't look cool. I'm using drinking and language as two examples. Those are just.
I do like the wine.
Those, yeah, but those are just examples of like. I feel like you hear that in LA a lot of people holding their friends accountable to a higher standard. That's just a small representation of like we're living at another level. So yeah, I think. Again, I have a compassion on people that face a lot of temptations. I think they're very real. You need help. You need good people around you. So that's why I think I'm using us three right now. Yeah. I think we can be weapons in a culture like Los Angeles for good and for change, of not walking around going like, something's wrong with you. Why are you? How come? Of going like, no, like, hey, I'm here for you. I'm here to serve. I don't need anything from you. I don't want to take from you. You don't need to give me anything, but I can be a servant in your life and help you. And any way I can help, I'm down.
Well, I think that's exactly what you did for us. I think you weren't judgmental. You weren't shaming. You weren't, how dare you? This is y'all's like, you.
Well, Judah a couple times. That mustache. Yeah. How dare you? Wow.
He told me coming in, he's like, I think I'm going to outstash.
You outstayed me by far.
I told
you
him.
crushed the stash
I told him
today.
to do his stash. If you didn't have the wedding, you probably would have.
Yeah.
No, the stash is the stash is strong, bro.
Nacho! I wake up every morning, 5 a.m., make some soup. It's the best. I love it.
Hold on, do the one where he goes, I know like a buttload about the gospel.
I know like a boatload of crap about the gospel. Yeah. It's like, I'm sorry, I only believe in science. I want to win.
Dude, I did not know this about you, that you had all these accents.
It's a crazy time.
I have like all of them in the bag. You're just pulling them out one by one.
Next Courage Bagel session, I'm tapping into all these.
I'm telling you. Just bring them on stage. Like,
Oh my God. No, not after the women's Zoe night. And you told me that there was a whole lot
Have
of
we talked about
bachelors.
Have we talked about that yet?
You threw me under the bus.
Okay, to be fair, I didn't lie to you.
You stretched the truth as long as it would.
I stretched it.
Smart move.
Far.
I left out key information
Yeah.
because Pastor Julia.
Is that not a
left
lie?
out key information.
That's called a lie.
It's gray area.
I left out key information.
He's like, it's a line of bachelors. It's going to be a bunch of girls, all of us up there. I'm like, yeah, you and me, let's do it.
Pastor
I
Julia-
get there, one guy.
Reached out to me. She's like, "Hey, we're having her night at the church, and we would love to have you up on stage to be like the bachelor." And I was like,
Nice. Now I realize I'm second choice. Not only was I up there, I wasn't even the first option. Like I can't do it, but I got a guy who's got curly
I
hair
got a
too, who's about a
friend.
foot shorter.
and Pastor Julia, like she knows me. She's like, "It's not really your vibe, is it?" And I was like, "Honestly, it's not.
Honestly.
but I have a guy."
I got a guy.
I was like, and I know he'll do this. I know he'll love it. And I hit Judah. I was like, "Hey man, like, Zoe Church, they are having her event, and they need like a bachelor just to go up there."
Now you're lying.
What am I saying?
A bachelor?
Okay,
Yeah, now you're lying.
I said
Tell
us.
the truth. Tell them what you told me.
I don't remember. What did I say?
And they need
exactly?
some bachelors up there.
They need
Okay.
some bachelors.
Yeah.
It was the S that got us.
It was the plural form.
Yeah.
I hinted that maybe I was also involved.
Maybe. Perhaps.
I never said I was actually going to go up, but I said bachelor.
I'll be there.
I'll
Yeah.
be there.
Here,
did
I'm
say
going.
that.
I did say I'll be there. And Judah gets there before me, and he goes, "You're not coming, are you?" And I go, "I'm coming. I'm just not getting up on stage."
Yeah, but you.
About 15 minutes later, I get another text from Judah. "I hate you."
That was from the heart too, by the way.
Also, by the way, I had no idea where we were walking into. I pull up to this event. There's like 1,000 girls. Like it was packed.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Pastor Julia kind of made it seem like it was just like 100,
Like a thing.
like a little little vibe.
Yeah, home group, small little gathering.
Yeah, I was like, oh, like it's a connect group. Like it's what, 50 people, 100 people? No, it was like 1,000
Yeah,
girls.
I know.
Candle lit,
The whole situation.
a stage, a chair, roses. I was like, oh my God. I didn't really know what I was inviting you into. I won't say throwing you. But you absolutely killed
This
it.
guy's out here in
I'll never-
the Her Lion's Den.
He goes, he was built for this.
I mean, you're an actor. I was like, my guy killed it. I did throw him in the lion's den.
He totally did.
Taking grenades for sure.
Take grenades, John. It was fun though. That was good.
Oh man, good times.
So when you if you do realize you have that feeling and that thought of like, I need to get into a different room.
Yeah.
And I do need to, surround
Yeah.
myself with different people. Do you just cut people out, or do you tell them like, hey, this is where I'm going?
One of my life values is stay sweet with everyone. It's just a life value. I have no enemies. Like even if someone gets mad at me, I'm not mad at them. So I don't think it's ever appropriate to be like, hey, just so you know, you're the problem in my life. I'm leaving you because you caused me to do X, Y, and Z. And so I'm cutting you out. Or even ghosting people. They say the cruelest form of communication is no communication, right? So I think that's also negative. To the best of your ability, I got to go find a new group, or I'm changing, I'm evolving. You guys have done this. That doesn't mean I have to be mean to people. or I have to treat them like they're a bag of hot trash. I can still be polite. I can still be kind. I don't have to spend all my time with them. I don't have to go do what we used to do. So my point is, stay sweet while you reinvent, because you never know in 3-5 years where those relationships are going to go. If someone goes to the hospital, someone goes through cancer, someone goes through a divorce, whatever, you still want to be there. So I don't believe in cutting people out. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I think if you want to live in a really big world, you have to have a big soul, and you have to find ways to fit everybody in your life, even if it looks different.
Yeah, in a different way.
Yeah, in a different way.
Yeah.
So we need to have a sit down. Ted, you're the problem. You're the source of my issues, and you're out of here. I don't think it was Ted. I think it was you. Ted's not the problem. You're the problem. Let's not blame him. Does the dynamic need to change a bit? Yes.
Yeah.
How we go about that, I think there's a smooth way to do that.
I think that's one of the things that in my life has been like a huge shift. Is when you just take accountability for everything.
There you go. I'm the
like
problem.
I'm not, the way you treated me is not like, I didn't retaliate because of what you did.
Yeah.
I retaliated because of how I'm dealing with everything.
There you go.
Where I'm at.
There you go.
The accountability thing, and that's one thing in the last 2 years. Just it's on me, regardless of all the external things in my life. How I choose to handle it and proceed.
There you go. I like that value. I call it extreme ownership. There's always ways. I mean, we grew up in sports.
Yeah.
There's always something I could have done better. Instead of blaming them, it's like, man, I should have done this. I could have handled this better. Man, I made a mistake there. And just always looking for self-improvement is, to me, the best way to live.
Well, it's like everything's happening for me, not to me. So
There
if
you go.
something bad happens, this is an opportunity to be more patient. Or that's one of the things I was talking with my mom the other day, and I'm like, I pray to be more brave, pray to be more courageous, more honest. And she goes, well, God's gonna give you reason, like things to go through.
There you go.
To test that. How are you brave when things are hard? How do you test your faith when things are hard? Like
there you go.
And so I just started praying about thank yous. I was like, I don't need to be brave anymore. God, I'm good. I no longer want to be brave. But it's true. Like you pray for things, and then God gives you ways to bring those to life that you didn't expect.
Great.
I think across all relationships, friendships, or intimate love relationships. I think at this point, like now in my life with the awareness I have now, I take accountability for all of it. I'm like, why they didn't work out. You know, whether it was somebody I loved, in an intimate way, or someone that used to be a friend of mine that's no longer a friend. I'm like, oh yeah, obviously, like I had to take my accountability for.
There you go.
And it's extreme accountability.
Yep.
You know, I'm not going to play victim.
That's right.
I'm not going to push, she did this or he did that. I'm just going to be like, no, it's on me.
You've also led with a lot of grace with it, with like the other person too.
Yeah.
Which is, extending the olive branch, which a lot of people don't do. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do.
Well, cutting off, like, I feel so ego related.
Yeah.
Like, cause your ego's so big, you're like, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like, how do you feel? What's a healthy? I feel like masculinity in 2024 looks a lot different.
Yeah, totally.
Than it did. What does healthy masculinity look like for you now? With ego, with all these things. Me and Jude have discussed like a lot about what are guys, who are they looking to in 2024. I think back when my parents were growing up, he had so many different, you had from JFK to MLK to, James,
Like who are we looking up to now?
Yeah, who are what does masculinity look like for us today?
Yeah,
and
Joe Rogan. Kidding.
But yeah,
but Joe
for
Rogan
a lot of
is
guys,
the voice
for a lot of guys.
Yeah, for 100 million people.
He's the first person I think of. People are listening to Joe Rogan.
I literally said the guys that because I think masculinity has also been attacked a lot.
That's right.
It's spawned your what's his name?
Andrew Tate.
Oh man,
it spawned your Andrew Tates, right? And I don't have no problem with Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan's, your Elon Musk's, and I'm just like,
Joe Rogan, by the way, came to faith. You saw that?
I saw that. No, it's awesome.
Now.
Really? He's born again Christian?
Yeah. I saw
Same
that.
with Peterson. Jordan Peterson.
I like Jordan Peterson.
A lot of people coming to faith right now.
Yeah, what does healthy masculinity look like?
Yeah, it's so funny you asked this question because in 1999, when I was living here, I had a friend at Biola University, and him and his buddies from Stewart Hall went through a class at Biola University called Authentic Manhood. Holy cow. And at the same time, there's a big book. I don't know if you heard of this book. There's a book called Wild at Heart. You ever hear this book?
Wild at Heart?
When you're in Montana riding horses, buy it on Amazon, take it on the plane with you.
Okay.
It's called Wild at Heart by a guy named John Eldridge. This book went viral. And basically, even in the 90s, people were trying to figure out, what does manhood look like? So all these guys at Biola took this class, Authentic Manhood, and they became like these cowboys of like, we're not going to be, wussies, and like the pendulum swung.
Yeah.
So even in the 90s, we were thinking like, oh man, we've been, basically in the church, males have been, become very feminine in the church. So this is a conversation in the 90s, is what I'm trying to say. In that time, I remember reading a scripture in Exodus that says, the Lord is a warrior is his name. Now, we were made in the image of God, which is not the visage of God. So we don't look like God visually, but we were made in the image of God. What is God? God is a warrior. So I do think that we have to really understand the way God created us to be men, and be confident in that. Even though I am a man, that doesn't mean I'm not a servant. That doesn't mean I don't have the fruits of the Spirit. What is the fruits of the Spirit? Walking with God. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness. Good. So I can be a man and still have the fruits of the Spirit. So I think it goes back to always just going, like, who does God want me to be? And how do I authentically walk that out? It's so funny. On Monday, we had our staff meeting. And I did like a teaching, and then we were kind of going around and talking a little bit. And one of the guys raised his hand on staff, and he goes, hey, Pastor Chad, I just want to share real fast. In our department, we have been saying every Sunday the Lord's Prayer and what it's done for our team. And as he's walking through the Lord's Prayer, I started to think, oh, there's the answer right there. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. So let's acknowledge God today. Your kingdom come, your will be done. It's about you, not about me. On earth as it is in heaven. How do I bring heaven down to earth today? Give me my bread, my daily bread. What is that saying? You're my provider today. I'm not. I don't pay all my bills and make my life happen. You make it all happen. You're my provider. Forgive me of my sins as I simultaneously forgive people that have sinned against me. So God, I recognize I need forgiveness. You're just talking about this. Mm-hmm. Help me to forgive people in my life.
Yeah.
Lead me not into temptation. I got people in my DMs. Lead me not into temptation. I'm tempted to do dumb stuff and destroy my legacy. Help me, God, not to be into deviant behavior today. Lead me not into temptation. Deliver me from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and power. My point is, to answer your question, I think if we start practicing the Lord's Prayer, if we walk with God, we can be authentic to our manhood and not be reckless cowboys that are like, I'm not going to be told what to do, and I'm a man, and carnivore diet, but it's like, dude, chill out.
Carnivore diet.
You see that, dude?
You need a Daniel fast.
Didn't he get
it's all
caught?
it's all scam. Like,
Yeah, it's a scam,
that
right?
guy's-
yeah, just
So
roided
my
out.
point is, like, you could still operate in this era, in today's generation, and be true to who God's made you to be. And it doesn't have to swing any which way. You just need God's help and humility, and God will show you how to live who you're supposed to be.
I love that. I always wondered, what about as a PK, a pastor kid, and now you become a pastor, do pastors have goals? Like for you, right? Individual goals, right?
Yeah.
Are you have your Joel Osteens. Are you open to becoming that big? Is that something is that something that pastors think about? Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah. Like, to me, I wouldn't ever look and go like, God, make me like so-and-so and make me like so-and-so. And I want to get to their level, because I think it's such a sovereign thing, man. The way that I always look about church is like, I never asked God to get on an airplane, but I've been getting on airplanes for 15 years. I never asked to preach. I never said like, God, I want to preach at a conference. I never asked God, I want to write a book. Or God, give me influence on social media. I never prayed for any. I just pray, God, use me. So to me, the greatest prayer, to answer your question, is I want to make the greatest impact I could ever make while I'm here on this earth. And I want to have the greatest influence for Jesus that I can make possible.
Yeah.
Impact and influence. I want to make an impact on this earth for the glory of God, not the glory of me. And I want to be an influence to influence others to Jesus, not influence people to me. I'm not a brand. I'm a messenger. It's the saying, I'm a nobody trying to tell the world about a somebody. So ego says, I'm building a name and a platform for me. Humility says, I can point you to the person that can solve your problems. I'm in relationship with the guy that can heal all your diseases and all your internal problems. So I'm not the solution. I'm just a conduit.
You got a guy.
I got a guy. I know a guy.
I know a guy.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense. I mean, I think I've always been super fascinated by PKs because I don't come from that culture in that world. Is like you growing up, is it a situation where, I mean, Pastor Julie is also a PK, correct?
Yeah.
Are you like, did you have to marry a PK? Like, how does that work? I don't know how that works.
It certainly helped.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't set out or pray like, God, you got to give me a beautiful pastor's, wife that was raised in this
Right.
work.
Yeah.
But man, does it help? Like I know people that are married to people that didn't grow up in it. And it's like NBA culture. You got to explain this is how it works. This is how it goes. This is how they move. This is what it's like. But it's somebody else that grew up in it, they just get it.
Yeah.
So I'm blessed that Julia grew up in it. And likewise, Julia was in real estate. When we got married, Julia owned 5 houses. I owned 1. I married Julia because she was rich. I thought we were going to make money. I didn't have any money. I was in the ministry. Julia was balling out. I was like,
balling.
I think she made 3 times what I was making that year. 3 times. She was making money. She's driving nice cars.
She's a go-getter. She's a problem solver. She's like, I'm going to go get it.
She is a driven person. It's that Eastern
driven.
European. I always think like people from Eastern Europe, they're like worth 10 Americans. They just outwork Americans. They're just, you know what I mean? So I didn't ever pray for that and ask God for a pastor's wife that would be, raised in it. But man, it's a huge help.
What is the key for you to keep that balance in your family and relationship? You guys have so many people relying on you guys all the time.
Yeah.
You guys uplift everybody and you have so much on your plate all the time.
Yeah, I think that's the constant focus, right? Is like making sure you're good. I like what Tom Brady's doing, asking himself, "How are you?" I think being honest with that, and always be aware. Like if you think about this, is one of my favorite stories. Jesus walking down the street, huge crowd around him, massive amount of people, and there's this lady that's been bleeding for 12 years, or maybe it's longer. She comes up, she grabs the hem of his garment. And she gets healed. And he stops and he goes, somebody touched me. And the joke there for all the preachers are, like, of course, Jesus, somebody touched you. There's throngs of people. And he's like, no. He goes, no, virtue left from me. So she grabbed his garment and he could tell energy left me. So I always think most people are focused on time management. I am really focused on energy management, managing my energy. Because I know like a Sunday is a lot of energy. So if I want to give that energy away, you better go to bed early. You better have a lot of water. You better be on that treadmill. You better be sitting in that sauna. You better be reading that book. Does that like you can't give away what you don't have?
Yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup.
There you go. Thursday night, I'm already the thing about our line of work too is different than like MBA or acting. Is like we know what's coming every Sunday. So your body physically, you start to ramp up. Like I start ramping up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Game day.
Then you come to game day and it's on and you pour out. How you handled your week determines what you have to give away. So I think it's always just the discipline of going like, during the week, I'm going to bed early. I'm getting up early. I'm trying to be strong and right and fit to give away something in hopes that people that don't have hope could find hope. If I show up sloppy and unprepared and undisciplined and just off the cuff and living off my gift, I don't think God will bless it or use it.
I mean, you're so good at what you do. I don't think me and Judah or the audience would ever know. Have you ever like shown up on game day and be like, damn, that was an off day?
Honest to God, I was just saying this the other day. That's never happened to me. Just because of the way that I'm wired, I would never be able to live with myself if I showed up and lived off my gift. That's not the way I was ever raised.
It's not about you at all. When
it's
you're up
not.
there.
It's service. So, and I think if you asked the question earlier, is like, problem with preachers or how they get themselves in trouble. I think a preacher or people in our line of work getting themselves in trouble, they're so uberly gifted that they showed up one Sunday and it worked and they didn't prepare, and they're like, oh, then I can live off gift. the time is it's like the what is it, the sand glass?
The hourglass.
It's not gonna last. To me, it's why I love Kobe. It's why I love Tom Brady. Obsessive. In the gym before everybody. Like, why do I'm drawn to that. Why? Because it's like, this guy is ready for the game. I know it's Thursday in Charlotte and it's an away game, but he's ready. It's the saying, your gift will get you to the stage, but your character will keep you on the stage. So it's like, I've been doing this for 25 years.
That's bars. I love that.
For 25 years, I've been doing it. Guess what? I want to do it for 40. I want to do it for 45. I don't want to stop. So if it was off my gift, it wouldn't have got me here. And I couldn't keep going. So you got to build practices in your life that will keep you for the long haul.
I love that.
That's so real. What about outside of the church? Do you have business goals? Are you like, what do you know?
It's so funny you
What are
asked
you
that.
into?
It's so interesting to me. I was talking to a pastor the other day about business, and it's like I'm scared. I don't know why I'm scared of it. I'm like, I don't ever feel like, I feel like you know, be good at one thing. Be good at one thing. Just give yourself to that thing. Now, there are things that outside of giving myself to this thing, I've gotten to write books. I've gotten to have a leadership podcast. I've gotten to go travel and preach.
Yeah.
But it's off one thing, which is what? Preaching the gospel. So it's like, I don't want to also, while I'm focused on this, restaurants, or I just feel like,
Well, you could be an advisor for me and Jerry's coffee shop.
I'll go taste test.
Yeah.
I'll
know
sit
what I
on the
mean?
board.
But business to me, it's just like,
Unless
again, if you
there's
could
a line
choose
with
something
that
else,
thing.
go do that. But I can't. It chose me, so give my life to it.
Yeah.
My life goal was I wanted to be a high school teacher and a high school basketball coach. That was my goal. And when God chose me to be in the ministry, I was so mad because all I wanted to do was teach high school and be the local high school basketball coach. That was going to be it for
What
me.
would you have wanted to teach?
PE. I ain't trying to teach the subject. What? You think I'm going to teach history, English, math? The heck?
Everyone sit down. We're going to learn about
I
the
went-
85 Bulls.
I went to school for social
Bears.
reasons
Da Bears.
only. I was in school to hang out and be in the lunchroom.
Sports history.
Yeah, sports history. That's it.
Because you would have been the PE teacher playing with us. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
like
what I
Chad would
wanna
have been
do.
a dope AP teacher.
All I want to do was basketball. Like
Chad's in the
basketball
office.
is
Listen, Chad, you can't be playing dodgeball with the kids anymore.
You
you rock,
pay-
little Johnny.
to me, like when I was
picked
growing
Sue.
up, high school, like I went to a high school with like a couple thousand students in our school. High school is like just the coolest place ever to me. It's like every dynamic, and I grew up where there's a military base, so we had tons of Asians, tons of black kids, tons of white kids, tons of like not that many Mexicans, but just like it was a melting pot of culture, and I was like, this is the coolest. I just want to do this, basketball and be around high schoolers.
I love that.
You speak Spanish?
Un poquito.
Un poquito.
Más o menos, así.
Así.
De vez en cuando. Me
No.
llamo Chad Veach.
No entiendo. That means I don't know, right?
Yeah, that's.
I know that one. No la sé.
I know a lot of palabras. I just can't piece them together.
Yeah, I don't know a bunch of Spanish. I could fake it pretty well. Well, we don't want to take all your time. I want to know at the end of the day, in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, what's one of the main things that you want to be remembered by as a man?
My boys. It's everything. I think the greatest legacy of somebody's life is their kids. You know, you look at your dad and you look at how successful you are and who you are and your brother and your sister and CAA and signing Candace Brink and your brother and ESP. Every time I turn on, you know, had a successful career.
My brother's trending every.
Yeah,
Every
day,
other day.
every day, everywhere I turn. You know, your dad has to be. It's like he's won some rings, been in the NBA for X amount of years. You know, Celtics, Clippers. Let's not get into that.
Yeah, let's just.
We've had a great
Ooh.
episode. Let's not go there. Let's not bring the devil front and center. Anyways, but it's like his greatest accomplishment is what? His kids.
His kids.
You know, 6 kids. You know, who would have thought that your family would raise someone with such beautiful accents and a beautiful mustache? Nobody saw it coming.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Number 5, a mustache.
What's because our pod we
Yeah.
try to take a creative
Yeah.
approach, trying to keep it fun and
I think it's the most creative pod that I've seen,
Different.
though. By the way,
Thank you.
By the way,
you.
Thank
this
you.
is the most creative pod I've seen.
Thank you.
trying to keep it like lifestyle vibes.
Yes, fire.
What song I have 1 or 2 in my head for your pod.
Mm.
What song embodies Chad Veach? I make a playlist
For the
I'll-
guests,
so yeah,
It's
but
on our newsletter. Every episode, there's a playlist that he.
It's 10 songs.
wow. Have you heard this kid, Frank Forrest?
No.
I feel like he's from Iowa making outdated. The Sonic to me is very like 4 years ago, but it's poppy enough for us where, and this is what I believe about Zoe music, is like we don't have any options outside of worship music. You have worship and then it's like nothing. So this is the first kid that's kind of cracked a space where it's like, I can play this in the car and it sound like there's an 808 on it and it sounds pretty cool. So I'm playing him a lot right now because my boys are like, it's not too cheesy. It's pretty cool.
Well, the one thing I love about you, especially like when you preach, you have so many cultural references because you listen to everything, you watch everything.
Thank you.
And I always like, I'd be cracking up in church because I feel like
so good. It's so
you'll
good.
drop little one-liners, and I'm like, it's definitely going over people's heads. Like, if you're born like 2000 and after, like you don't get anything he's saying.
You don't get it. Yeah.
You know,
It bothers Julia. You know, she asked me, please, this Sunday, don't quote a rapper. And I'm like, that's impossible.
Yeah, you quoted Usher before the Super Bowl, and I was dying laughing so hard. It was so good.
Bro, you quote Dumb and Dumber like maybe every other week, and it's so subtle. Or like I think you did the Sandlot once.
Oh yeah,
and I'm just like,
always.
I think you said "Killing Me Smalls" or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm like looking around, everyone's just like, I'm like, y'all not get how funny this is?
Okay, so that's another big part of why we got tight, and another thing we do in our episodes. Every episode we have a song of the week and a movie of the week.
So good.
What's like an all-time movie for you?
Remember the Titans is my favorite of all time.
That's my mom's favorite.
All time.
You have to tell them the story.
Oh my gosh.
One of my favorites.
Wow,
This is
I
great.
like this.
This was 2017-ish. It's a playoff game. My dad's coaching the LA Clippers.
Okay.
And so a car comes and picks me and my sister Callie up, Austin, my brother, and my youngest brother Spencer up. We're all in the car. We're headed to the game. And when you pull up to the Staples Arena, the players' entrance, it takes you down below into the tunnel, right?
Yep.
So we're waiting there at the guards' entrance. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, yo, it's Donald Faison from Remember the Titans.
You'll understand who it is in a sec.
He was the running back.
The running back, y'all.
Oh, they're my favorite.
The running back, y'all. Like, Donald Faison was the running back, and he's the one who named Sunshine.
Sunshine.
He's the one that Sunshine kissed.
Yeah.
And Remember
He's
the
like,
Titans.
I gotta know.
Hey, man, listen. But I gotta know.
Yeah.
I gotta know.
I gotta know. Don't play with my mind.
I don't care, but I gotta know. He goes,
Yeah.
well, if you don't care, why you gotta know?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, Petey.
Yeah. So we're going down. We all recognize him. We're all hyped because it's my mom's favorite movie. She watches it maybe every other day. Not even joking.
Wow.
So the guard gates go up. He's like standing at like the top of the guard gate, like trying to get in. I think the security's like, whatever, trying to figure it out. Because that's where all the celebrities go down, right? We start heading down. My little brother Spencer rolls down the window and pokes his head out the window and goes, "Hold on to that ball, Petey." As we're going down, Faison like looks at the car and you see like this little kid's head like looking at him. Bro, the car, we erupted laughing, and he just started smiling like,
what are you gonna do? You gotta smile.
yeah,
Hold
like,
on to that ball, Petey.
he's like, "Hold on to that ball, Petey." Yo, I'll never. My little brother, like, he's one of the best humans ever, and he's so funny.
That is
like just
amazing.
and at the time he was like 16, like just off the top of
the
his
cusp,
dome.
man. That's like you said, your youngest. Just they got it.
Oh yeah.
they got it.
If you got it, you got it.
They got it. That's
It
one of
was
my
so
favorite
good.
stories. All right, if you had an elevator pitch 10 seconds to lead someone to God that isn't a follower, what would you say?
I would just say Jesus loves you so much. He died on the cross for your sins. And no matter what you've done, he loves you. He's for you. He's got a plan for your life. He died so that you could live forever. And if you need forgiveness, it's only found in the person of Jesus. All you have to do is believe.
Give God a year.
Yeah, give God a year.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
y'all are
real.
proof of that.
No doubt.
You know?
I'll never forget that day.
Yeah.
No,
It was a shift.
Because I think people come and they go like, I'm going to give God a chance, or I'm going to give God a couple weeks. Give him a year. We live in a microwave society. You got to sit in that crock pot. You can't just, it's nothing instant with God as far as like true sanctification or transformation. You got to give God time.
It's never on your time. It's on God's time.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, dude, we love you.
Love
we
you so
appreciate
much.
you
so much for coming
Yeah,
in.
man.
Amazing.
We really appreciate it. It was
I mean, you've been such an instrumental figure in our lives and so many people's lives.
Thank you very much for being in our lives and being a mentor and a person that is open.
Yeah, man.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Truly
Appreciate
love
you.
y'all.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of In Good Company.
If you're enjoying this show, it would mean the world to us if you left a 5-star review. You know we love 5-star reviews. And subscribe to the pod.
This is a reminder, if you want to watch our episodes, you can do so only by subscribing to our Patreon, where you also get access to the menu and some fun announcements we have coming up.
And don't forget,
The only thing better than good food
is good company.